Hi, I'm going to go through a method that I use for you in this video as a bit of a tutorial how I clean the chain on my bike, and I've used various other methods. I've got one of those things that you put in line on the chain and the chain goes round some wheels and out, and you put some degreaser fluid in there, and it's kind of okay, but it's very messy, ends up dribbling loads of stuff on the floor, and it just spreads that degreasing soup around your whole gear train. You end up with seemingly more to clean up than what you started off with. I've used various different products. One of the first ones that I guess I used is the Muck Off Dry Lube. I've been using that for years, and it is really good. I think it's an emulsification, but this is generally for dry conditions, and you sort of need to keep applying it regularly. I've also tried this one, the Wet Lube. This is like a blue gel. This is mainly for mountain bikes, really, in really wet and muddy conditions. So if you go through forest trails, things like that, you would need to clean your chain every time and reapply that, but all the crap is going to stick to that. The other one I've tried is Finish Line. This is like a Teflon stuff. This is kind of like a clear fluid which kind of dries. So I guess it's a bit like a PTFE. That works quite well, and I've nearly used a whole bottle of that. And when I got my road bike last year, I kind of started off using that, and that's pretty good. What I have been using this last 6 months, probably certainly since I started riding outside this year, so March, April time, is the Squirt Chain Lube. And you'll see various people like Katie Kookaburra on YouTube and that endorsing this stuff and using this stuff, and I thought I'd give it a go, and it is actually really good. I'm gonna show you the process of how I clean my chain today, but my chain, since I last cleaned it, I've probably done, I don't know, maybe 300 or 400 miles, and I did a ride yesterday, 32 miles in relatively wet conditions. Not done any more to it. I've been out today, I've done another 25 miles today. My chain drive is still completely silent. I think that's one of the things that I knew when I was using this stuff. You start to hear your chain drive, and so when you're pedaling, unless it's out of adjustment and you can start to hear your chain drive, it needs re-lubing. With this Squirt stuff, it lasts a lot longer before you need to apply any more. And so this stuff, once you treat your chain with this, I would say that you only need to put maybe another 2 applications on it before you need to take the chain off and completely clean it and start again. The process that I'm going to show you is really the best process to get your chain clean for this stuff. To do this, it is better if your chain's got the quick release brackets on like this, and for this it is better if you've got this tool. I spent quite a while being able to separate my chain just by grabbing hold of it and wiggling it, but sometimes it just won't come off, so you're better off with this tool. You can see on this chain what the condition of it is now, and basically the black bits and that on it, you can see that's like a little bit of a build-up of wax, and it's a build-up of grit and dust and muck and that off the road, and it's just sort of building up on the sides of the chain, and it's that really that we want to get rid of. I've got myself a little ultrasonic bath. It's only a small one, they're not very expensive nowadays. I think this was about 35 quid, and it's also got a heater in it. Now I don't use solvents anymore in it. I did once, but you don't really need to. I use hot water and some detergent. Don't really use Fairy Liquid because Fairy Liquid's full of salt. This is some washing gel that I got from France, but you could use like a washing tab, cut the corner off and probably use about 1/3 of it in there. But it's just something like a detergent to help dissolve the muck and the wax and everything. I'm going to stick this on for 20 minutes and then we'll come back and see what it's like. So after 20 minutes you can see the water is pretty mucky. But it's not I give the chain a bit of an agitation as well with a brush or something. The ultrasonic bath is good for loosening the stuff, but you need to give it an agitation to really get the stuff out of the chain. Also, it's a good idea to take your cassette off, so it's a good idea to have this tool. Take your cassette off and also stick that in the ultrasonic bath and give that 10 minutes as well. And then you can see on there, I've got a nice clean cassette. And then what I do with the chain, I put it in a glass jar like this, put a bit of meths in, or you can use white spirit, but it's always better to finish off with meths. Give it a shake, you can see the colour of the meths, and tip that out, and do this 2 or 3 times until the meths is starting to not be as discoloured. So take the chain out, the meths will evaporate quite quickly. Just wipe round your front gear set, make sure there's not really any build up on your front gears and also on your derailleur gears. Put your clean cassette back on the wheel, add in a little bit of grease on the hub, tighten that up, and then put the chain back on the bike, reconnect your quick link. By now the meth should have evaporated from the chain. Put the chain approximately in the middle of the cassette, and then what you want to do now is put 1 application of wax on. We only need to apply the wax onto the rollers, it doesn't really need to be on the side. If you leave that for 2 hours, then put another application on, and that's the job done. And that is a thorough clean of the chain and a proper application of Squirt. You can't put this on a dirty chain, and you can't put it on if there is any other lube or grease on your chain. Because this is an emulsification of wax and water, it needs to be able to run into the rollers, right? And if your chain's already got some other product on there, oil or whatever, this will not run into the rollers, so it won't work. Cleaning my chain as I have and applying this properly, it works brilliantly, and that chain is good now for a good 200, 300, 400 miles. And yeah, you can give it the odd application, but you can't apply this just before you're going out for a ride. You need to apply this a couple of hours at least, or the night before you're going for a ride. So that's how I do it, and I can honestly say that I have brilliant results with it. My chain is completely silent when I'm out pedaling. You can't hear it going round at all. It's brilliant. So thanks for watching, and hope you have some success with that.